Good morning. My name is Reverend Vaughn Amare, and I am here today with Reverend Michael Amare and with our amazing practitioner, Stephanie Scranton, who is doing our lesson, or speaking for us today. Northern Light Spiritual Center is a community of people dedicated to using spiritual and practical principles to create lives we want to live. Northern Light Spiritual Center offers practical and spiritual tools to make positive changes in our lives. We acknowledge our presence here on the traditional and unceded lands of the First Peoples of Seattle, the Duwamish and Coastal Salish peoples. These people are still here, and we join with them in how they continue to honor and bring to light their ancient heritage. We seek to resist the erasure of Indigenous histories as we work towards honoring and inviting the truth. Please join me for our opening song, In This Very Room, by Ron and Carol Harris. In this very room, there's quite enough love for all the world. And in this very room, there's quite enough joy for all the world. And there's quite enough peace and quite enough power to walk through our every fear. For Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. In this very room.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is a time of service where we set aside to center ourselves, to become calm, collected, and at ease and peace. So I just invite everybody to try to get as comfortable as you possibly can. Find that nice sweet spot in the chair, in the bed, or wherever you may be. Just allow your body to relax, that easy, peaceful feeling of relaxation. We're going to take in a few deep cleansing breaths. And I invite you to take that breath all the way down, allowing your diaphragm to expand, and then hold it for a few seconds, and then release all of it. And so as we take one nice deep breath in, and hold it, and release. Breath in, hold it, and release. One more nice, deep, cleansing breath in. And release. And as we settle into the moment, releasing all that has come before, and not worrying about what will come after, just allowing ourselves to be present in this perfect moment. That's the only place we need to be right now, is in this exact moment. So today, I'm inviting us to just have a quiet, introspective meditation. Just to go in and comes up, just, recognize it and say, listen, that is. Allow yourself to go back to quiet stillness of your mind. As we breathe in and breathe out, knowing that our body is refreshed, refueled, revitalized with each breath we do. Releasing what is not needed. I invite us to feel our fingers and toes. And when you're ready, come back to the room and open your eyes. And so it is. Always forget.
That's okay.
With emotion, I mean.
Well, good morning, all.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here. This is the time that I'd like to do our affirmation. And so if you'd like, you can stand. If not, you can stay seated. Whatever makes you feel good. And it's a call and response. I'll say it, and then you repeat it. Okay, here we go. God is the only power in my life.
God is the only power in my life.
Nothing from without
Nothing from without
can touch the perfect life
can touch the perfect life
of God within me.
of God within me.
No past experience has power over me.
No past experience has power over me.
I am a perfect child of God,
I am a perfect child of God,
and nothing that anyone has ever done or said
and nothing that anyone has ever done or said
can interfere with my divine inheritance.
can interfere with my divine inheritance.
The power of God
The power of God
is greater than any circumstance in my life.
is greater than any circumstance in my life.
The strength of God
The strength of God
is mine to use.
is mine to use.
Turning away from all feelings of inadequacy,
Turning away from all feelings of inadequacy,
I discover that all that I need is within me now.
I discover that all that I need is within me now.
As I forgive the past,
As I forgive the past,
and I do forgive the past,
and I do forgive the past,
and I leave the past in the past,
and I leave the past in the past,
I find that I have nothing to be sorry for
I find that I have nothing to be sorry for
and nothing to run away from.
and nothing to run away from.
Casting off the old me,
Casting off the old me,
I discover my true self.
I discover my true self.
And so with these I statements, we're going to point to ourselves. I take dominion in my life.
I take dominion in my life.
Old habits have no power over me.
Old habits have no power over me.
Conditions have no power over me.
Conditions have no power over me.
Personalities have no power over me.
Personalities have no power over me.
I take dominion.
I take dominion.
I am whole.
I am whole.
I am free.
I am free.
I am complete.
I am complete.
Now and forevermore.
Now and forevermore.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Gotta get that yes in, okay? Okay. See you in a minute.
Yes. Now, today's reading is in two parts. First one is from a post on the internet, it's from a 12-step recovery post. One of the hardest things to overcome after years of addiction is our guilt. For quite some time, we remained convinced that our disease hurt no one but ourselves. Eventually, however, we come to realize that this isn't quite true. In some cases, this realization leaves us devastated, tortured by the pain of our own remorse. We spend countless hours wallowing in misery. If only we could go back in time, we'd give anything to change our past behaviors and undo their consequences. Unfortunately, we'll never be able to atone for the wreckage of our past if we do not first learn how to move forward. It isn't always easy to move forward when our guilt continually weighs us down. We know that we need to make amends, but we become terrified of the reaction we might receive upon doing so. Even then, we worry that forgiveness from those we've wronged will do little to make us feel better. This doesn't make our amends any less necessary, but it still often causes us to put them off. Another excuse we often make is that we need to get ourselves into the right mindset before we can attempt to approach others. Given the importance of spiritual growth, we'd like to dedicate this discussion to our need to move forward. First, we'll focus upon various forms of our wreckage that our wreckage might take. Then, we'll talk about how to begin the process of moving forward with our lives. We'll then conclude with a few cautions against thinking too much about the future. Remember that while your addiction may have affected others, your recovery has the potential to affect them as well. It is therefore vital that you learn to move forward and achieve true spiritual growth. And this other is from a Reverend Rita from the CSL in Kauai. just imagine that nice sunny breeze that I have on my
Yes.
background on Zoom there.
Looks nice.
This morning I found a quote by Dr. Michael Beckwith in my email box. Don't anticipate something good, participate in the good.
Mhm.
This reminds me that when I do spiritual mind treatment to reveal a specific good in my life, I can't just stand by watching for something to happen. I must actively participate in the revealing that good. This doesn't mean forcing my will or working hard, but it does mean I must actively engage myself with spirit and walk out into the world as if it is already so. Yesterday, my husband and I had a vivid example of this. We had been reciting spiritual mind treatment for a long period of time to resolve a certain issue. I say reciting purposely because we did little else but that. We just kept waiting for that situation to resolve and made very little effort to take any substantial action. Finally, yesterday, my husband took the lead in moving forward into action. Almost immediately, the issue was resolved. And it was resolved without the tremendous struggle that sometimes accompanies experiences. The message I took away from all of this is that it always takes action on our part to demonstrate our good. We are co-creators at all times. However, it doesn't take aimless action or concentrated action or forced action. It takes action. Action that is always guided and directed by our intuition, which is infinite intelligence, love, God, knowing itself as us. And it is always easy to take that action, but it does not. But it does take a definite decision. We have a saying in science of mind that is the whole core of spiritual mind treatment. It is treat and move your feet. There is that which is the universe's job, and there is that which is ours to do. It is easy to know which is which when you are forced in love and not in the outcome. When you're focused on in love and not on the outcome. When you feel like you've done all you can with a challenge in your life, take a breath and open up to allow the universe to do its part. It will cut through the details and bring us to a perfect outcome just right for us. We will know what action to take. Don't anticipate something good. Participate in the good. You are powerful in your ability to demonstrate good in your life when you partner with the one power and allow it to work through you as you walk your desire into the manifest world. So it is.
So it is.
So the chant for this month, it's not showing up on the screen, it's showing up on the, there it is. The chant for the month is, I lift my eyes to the glory alive every day. I lift my heart to the glory that thrives every day. I lift my mind to stories to strive every day. I lift my life to memories that guide me today. I set my intention, let it whisper and mention, the highest and best I will be, the highest and best I will be. glory alive every day. I lift my heart to the glory that thrives every day. I lift my mind to the stories to strive every day. I lift my life to the memories that guide me today. I set my intention, let it whisper and mention the highest and best I will be. The highest and best I will be. Now we shift it over to you. You lift your eyes to the glory alive every day. You lift your heart to the glory that strives every day. You lift your mind to the stories that strive every day. You lift your life to the memories that guide you today. You set your intention, let it whisper and mention the highest and best you will be. The highest and best you will be. Now we lift our eyes to the glory alive every day. We lift our hearts to the glory that thrives every day. We lift our minds to the stories to strive every day. We lift our lives to the memories that guide us today. We set our intention, let it whisper and mention the highest and best we will be. The highest and best we will be. Now bring it back to I and really feel it. I lift my eyes to the glory alive every day. I lift my heart to the glory that thrives every day. I lift my mind to the stories to strive every day. I lift my life to memories that guide me today.
I'm gonna call it right now.
And here she is.
Ah! Woo! Yay!
What a feeling.
So good morning again. Thank you all for being here. So the title of my talk today is Playing Full Out on God's Playground. Now, you remember how it was to play on a playground. For some of us, it might be a little stretch. You might have to go back a little bit. But remember that feeling of playing on the playground. Remember that time when recess would come and you're just waiting to get outside and to play. And play full out. There was no holding back. There was this joy, this exhilaration. What if we were to look at life as this playground, as God's playground? And it's our own playground, and we get to have and do and be whatever we want to be on this playground. We're talking, our theme for this month is about being in the wonder. So how would that be to wake up every day and be in the wonder of life? To look at life as being this adventure. Every day being an adventure. In the Bible, it talks about becoming like little children. And so if we went back to that childlike wonder where everything was special, everything was new. Now, so we were talking about playing full out on God's playground because we were made in the likeness and image of God. And we are God. And God placed us here to express itself more and more. God placed us here to be happy, to be in joy. God didn't place us here to be the oh woe is me and the oh my God, why is this happening to me? In the misery of it all. We're not here to suffer. We're here to celebrate. We're here to be in joy. We're here to be happy. So we're talking about playing full out on God's playground. So that means coming with it all. When you were a child, oh my goodness, you get out there and you would just play. My games, I like to play Foursquare and hopscotch. Those were my go-tos. But if there was something else available, I'd take advantage of it. Now, in those days where it was raining, which we got a lot in Seattle, we would have to stay inside. Not as much of an adventure, not as much fun, but we made the best of it. We created our own fun. And so think about that as far as living life, as far as expressing life, as far as experiencing life. Now, God provides us inspiration. God provides us with ideas. And these are to be acted upon. In the book, Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, she thinks of us ideas as being these living entities. That they're alive, that they're full of energy. And that these energies now, in order for them to be manifest, need to partner with a human. And so when you think about these ideas and and the way that Elizabeth Gilbert is talking about, it's like these ideas come to you to be expressed. The thing about them is that because they're energetic and, they're alive, that if you don't do what it is that it's asking you to do, what is it going to do but go to the next person? Have you ever had that situation where, you're watching TV or you're reading something in the newspaper, reading something online, and someone has done something, and you're like, I had that idea, I thought of that. Well, the only difference here is they did something with it. You didn't. Elizabeth Gilbert gives the example of, she got this idea to write this book. And she's done the outline, she's writing, she's doing all this, and for some reason she stopped. The next thing she knows, someone else has written the book, and the book is almost identical to her book. Someone she doesn't know has written this book. The idea wanted to be made manifest. And so it found someone that would do that. So think about those times in your life where you had this idea and you did nothing with it. Or you had this idea and you started and then you stopped. That idea moved on. There's this idea, I heard this idea about moving at the speed of inspiration. And so what if we were to move with the ideas, whatever those are, with those inspiration that God is giving us all the time? What if we were to act upon them? Reverend Michael talked about the importance of taking action. We're not here to stand still. We are here to move. He talked about treat and move your feet. Treatment is a form of prayer that we practice. We pray for something. Then our part is to hold that vision and to act when we are prompted to act, to take those inspired actions. Sometimes the action means standing still and thinking about it, processing it, and developing. So even though it may not be what looks like a physical action, it is still an action. It's an action in mind. The way to fulfill or manifest the idea is in the idea itself. It's waiting for that inspiration and then acting up on it. In the video, in the music that we just listened to, that we just heard, it's from the movie Flashdance. Some of you may remember, because I think we were all here in the 1980s, right? There might be some people in Facebook that weren't born until 2000s, but go back and check the movie out. The movie is called Flashdance, and it's about a young lady who wants to be a dancer. She's working as a metal worker, and she's dancing in this club at night, but she wants to go to this school. And it's a school like Juilliard, so it's it's a performing school. But she keeps thinking and creating these reasons for why she can't do this audition. Stuff gets in the way, life gets in the way. And so she keeps making these things up. And then at some point, she actually goes to the audition, and you see her, and when she first starts at the audition, she messes up. And then, and the people in the panel's like, yeah, okay. But she gets this fire within her, and she just, what you saw, her flipping, doing all that, was her audition. Now there's some lyrics from the song that I want us to just examine. The song starts off by saying, first, when there's nothing but a slow, glowing dream. Now, we can look at that as that inspiration, that idea, that dream, that there's that something, that desire that we want. There's something. It's slow glowing. It's glowing, but it's real quiet. We sometimes call it that still small voice. Then it goes on to say that your fear seems to hide deep inside your mind. So there's our buddy fear. Some of us have made it a resident in our life. And that fear takes us over, and we either stop or we don't even start. Then the song talks about what a feeling. Beings believing. So what that's saying to me is that you got to be that which you're striving for. That idea, you have to be it. You have to allow it to encompass you and just move. Because we're talking about playing full out on God's playground, and when you're on the playground, you got to move, right? You got to run. You have to express. Then the song says, I can have it all. Now I'm dancing for my life. God has given you the kingdom. God's giving you the keys. And sometimes we just kind of like, oh, I wonder what this key fits. I wonder what we're supposed to do with this. And we do nothing. But it's saying I can have it all. I'm dancing for my life. Meaning that life can be a dance. What a wonderful way to spend life as a dance. Reverend Pamela introduced me to a song, I Hope You Dance, that talks about dancing and expressing. And so whatever it is in your life, it doesn't have to be a dance. It can be a song. It can be whatever. But it's about expressing it. Then the song talks about take your passion and make it happen. Pictures come alive. You can dance right through your life. Oh my God. So there's this passion. There's something within you that's like, ooh, I want to be born. I want to be expressed. So take that energy, because sometimes you're going to need it. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes, I start working on it, and then my energy gets a little down. But I have to remember that passion. The reason why I started this, I'm doing this exercise, this bar program, and she always talks about, remember why you started this video. Because sometimes it's like, okay, when is this going to be over? But remembering why I'm even doing this. And pictures come alive. So we talk about manifesting. We talk about visualization. We talk about visioning. So we have a picture in our mind. And those pictures want to be made manifest. And you can dance through your life. Oh my goodness. It's being in joy. It's about expressing. It's about having everything and anything that you want in your life. You can celebrate your whole life long. You don't have to get stuck in the ideas, in someone else's what ifs. You don't have to get stuck. You can dance, you can move. We're talking about playing full out on God's playground this morning. And on God's playground, you have to move. Now, in working on my talk, I came across this article online that talks about the 10 signs that I'm playing full out. So I want to share those 10 signs. Now, if you're not able to answer yes to every single one of these, perhaps you're not playing full out. Some things to consider. Number 1, I know what I want, and I'm committed to getting it. And if I don't know, I devote time and energy to figuring it out. So it's talking about going after what you want, figuring out what it is you want, and then doing something about it. Number 2, I'm so focused on my vision that I don't get distracted or scattered by irrelevant, draining, or conflicting tasks. When I read this, I thought about how Reverend Michael always talks about squirrel brain, where it's like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do this, instead of staying on point, on task. How easy is it for you to get distracted by doing something else so that you're not moving forward on what it is you're being called to do? And it could be something as simple as cleaning your house. Oh, let me sit down and watch Netflix. There's a new show. We're talking about taking action. Number 3, I'm willing to experience whatever it takes, defeat, embarrassment, even humiliation, to achieve what I want. Oh my goodness. How many of us, I guess I need to speak for myself, you get embarrassed. Someone doesn't agree with what you're doing. And so you stop. I remember when I decided to go back to a design school. Oh my goodness, the number of people that were not supportive. You know, I get things like, well, you already know how to sew, why are you going to design school? My thought is, you're an idiot. Being a designer is a lot more than knowing how to sew. Or I get like, why'd you wait so long? People, not everyone is going to support you in your dream. Not everyone is going to support you in anything and everything that you're doing. You're the one that has to be the one that knows that this is for you. This is your idea. If it was for someone else, they would be doing it. This is for you to do. So if other folks don't get it, so be it. Number 4, I'm constantly doing things I've never done before and or don't want to do. How many of us are venturing out doing something new? Something we've never done before. And even the bigger question is doing something you don't want to do. Sometimes I feel like, it's like Spirit can I just take a day off? Do I have to be, this elevated consciousness all the time? Can I just be? And the answer is no. You don't get to take a day off. Doing things you don't want to do. Number 5, I make at least one unreasonable, i.e. scary, request a week. How many of us want to do things that are scary? I'm not a big fan. But in order for us to grow, we have to step out of this comfort zone. some of us have created these boxes that we've lived in, and they may be transparent so we can see out, but that's it. We're not living outside of the box. We're living within these confines that we've created for ourselves. So it's about doing at least, she says at least one unreasonable. So it's not, you're not limited to just one. You can do more than that. Number 6, I don't say yes when I really want to say no, even if it means rocking the boat or upsetting another. How many of us say yes just because we think that's what's expected of us? And feel so bad when we say no. Oh my goodness, I'm disappointing them, I'm letting them down. It's all those shoulds in life. I should have done this. Well, who created those shoulds? Did you create them? Or did you pick up someone else's? Number 7, I regularly seek out support and refuse to spend time with or discuss my dreams with naysayers, even if they're related. Some of us have a problem asking for help. Some of us share our dreams, our desires with folks that don't support us. And then when they don't support us, we stop doing it because they don't support us. They don't think it's a good idea. This idea is for you. Remember, it's this energy that's come to you that said, I want you. You're the one. Again, we're talking about playing full out on God's playground. Number 8, every time I'm afraid to do something, I force myself to do it anyway. And I catch myself when I try to justify not doing it. Getting scared, being afraid is normal. It happens to all of us. But it's about not letting it stop you. This is for you to do, for you to move forward. And here's the thing. It came to you for you to do. So there's a way for you to do it. You're the one that can achieve it. Ideas won't come to you if it thinks that you can't be the one to fulfill it. So take that, and it's like the next time you're afraid, it's like, hey, this is mine. I can do this. This is for me to do. Number 9, I am rigorous about the thoughts that I think and the words that I use, making sure they're positive, supportive, and appreciative of myself and others. So it's like with our philosophy, change your thinking, change your life. And so it's guard what you're thinking, how you're thinking, what you're focusing on. Make it uplifting, not stuff that tears you down. And number 10, I take time to relax and pamper myself so I don't burn out. Very, very important. Because if you burn out, what happens? The idea doesn't manifest. And it wants to be more. So were you able to answer yes to all 10? Was there something that you're like, ooh, maybe, I could work on that? So we're talking about taking action, playing full out on God's playground. And why don't we? So I came up with a few thoughts that I had, and I'm sure there are a lot more, but I'm going to share some of them with you. One is we get stuck in dreams about what we want to do. So you're sitting there dreaming, and tomorrow you dream about it some more, and the next day you dream about it some more, and then finally it's 10 years later and you're still dreaming about it. You've done nothing about it. You've done nothing to accomplish it, but it's a dream. This is what I want. Someone may ask you, well, what have you done about it? Oh, I'm supposed to do something? Oh, okay. The next one that I came up with, you get stuck in analysis paralysis, overthinking things. So now, you decide you're going to do this and you analyze it. You look at the pros, the cons, all of it. And you're so invested in the analysis of it that you don't do anything. And, you're like, I'm working on it. Well, you're not really. You're analyzing it to death. At some point, you have to do it. I remember in science class, you would have your hypothesis, correct? Everybody remember that? But then you had to prove if your hypothesis was correct. So you actually had to do the experiment. You didn't sit there in the hypothesis and ponder it. You actually had to do something. And then at the end of it, you determined if your hypothesis was correct or incorrect. The next one, getting stuck in procrastination. Oh, I know I'm the only one probably that procrastinates. You don't get stuff done. It's like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next week. I'll do it when I've lost 10 pounds. I'll do it when I've gained 10 pounds. I'll do it when, when the stars all align. I'll do it when we are in that mode of procrastination, nothing gets done. The next one, you get stuck in pessimism. It's that naysayer. It's that part of your mind that's like, I don't know why you think you can do that. Who told you could do that? Are you listening to someone else that says, well, you tried that 10 times before and it didn't work. Why do you think it's going to work now? Pessimism. The next one is you get stuck in the overwhelm. So you've analyzed it, you've looked at it, and it's like, it's so big, I don't even know where to start. That's where I was with my mom's home, when I had to clean it out. And many of you know I've been working this through for a while. At the beginning, I was stuck in my grief, which was fine. But then I got stuck, when I'm looking around, I'm like, oh my God, there's just so much. There's so much to do. So let me just hide in my little space that I've already cleaned out and just kind of not look at the rest of it. Because I just don't know what to do. It's just so much. Well, here's the thing. You do it in bite-sized pieces. Remember when you were little and your mother or someone cut up your food? You didn't just take the whole piece of whatever and shove it in your mouth. It's like, let's chop it up into bite-sized pieces so that I can now manage it. And so that's what I start doing with my house. I start doing a little bit at a time. And when I felt like it, I start doing things with it. And I did a little bit here and I did a little bit there. And that's how you can chip away at an idea. You do a little bit at a time. The next one is getting stuck in comparing. You look over there and you're like, well, you know, that person over there did it so easily. Why is it so hard for me? You don't know what that person over there went through. We oftentimes see the results. We see what's, them finally doing something. But we don't know their story. We don't know their journey. And so because we're stuck in the comparing and it's not as easy for me as it was for them, you don't do anything. Remember, we're talking about playing full out on God's playground. This is the playground. It's our playground. What are we going to do on it? Now, I want to kind of convince you to take action. And so I'm going to give you some reasons why I feel that you should take some action. One of the things is action invites motivation. So when you take some action, you get motivated because you're moving. You ever been in that situation? You're not feeling all that great. You're in bed and you're like, oh, I don't feel good. And I don't mean that you're sick. You're just not feeling good for whatever reason. And then you get up and you put some clothes on and you start moving. You're like, I'm feeling better. And oftentimes the energy just needs to move. And so then you get motivated to do more. It's like, what can I do next? So action invites motivation. Action establishes habits. Now, in establishing a habit, it could be a good habit or not so good habit. Because if you keep doing the action and getting the wrong results, and you keep doing that, it might be a bad habit. Not always. But action creates a habit because the more you do it, the easier it is to do it. Think about when you learn to tie your shoe. I actually don't remember when I learned to tie my shoe, but I know that I learned to tie my shoe. And it probably didn't happen the first time, but I do remember about learning to ride a bike. And I remember the first day my dad took me out, all I could do is ride in a circle. For some reason, I just kept going in a circle, and every time I tried to go straight, I fell. The next day, however, I get back on the bike, and I'm able to ride straight. My body had gotten in the habit of this motion, and I feel like my brain had connected with it, saying that when you get on this particular apparatus and you start pedaling, and I say go straight, that's what you do. So as you keep doing it, it creates a habit. Action also induces winning. Oh my goodness, how many times have you done something and you achieved it? You know, I'm one for, I love lists. And I create a to-do list when I have a lot of stuff to do in a day. And I get to check it off. That feels good to me. Especially when I've checked off everything at the end of the day. That's a win. Checking off one thing is a win. So looking at your accomplishments as wins. Action determines what's possible. And what that means is that if you're doing something, you're taking some action, and it's like, I did that. And so your space for what's possible starts growing. I think about when they were saying that you couldn't run a mile in 4 minutes. It's like a 4-minute mile. And then somebody did it. And then I think someone even broke that. So it's like when you take this action, it's like the possibilities grow. Action creates your now. So we're in this now moment. And this now moment is creating our next moment. And so whatever action we're taking now, be it physical action, be it a mental action, be it psychological action, that's going to impact our next moment. But if you're in the now, you're in this now moment. And you're creating and you're achieving right here and right now. Action produces a result. Duh, that's obvious, right? You get some kind of results. You do it, there's a result. Now, the result might not be what you thought it was going to be, or it might not be what you wanted it to be. I think about and I've said this before, about the light bulb. When he decided to create a light bulb, it didn't just happen. You know, he tried a few thousand times and it didn't happen. But what he did was he looked at it as, oh, I've developed 1,000 and something ways on how not to create a light bulb. But he got a result, but he learned from that. So we can take whatever looks like a failure. There aren't any failures other than not doing it. But moving forward, you know, when you realize, okay, this is not the way I'm supposed to do it. Let me do something else. And then action creates a chain reaction. And so what I mean by that is that you do something, and then Spirit reveals to you the next something to do, and then the next something to do, and the next something to do. And so as you're moving through the action, you're building upon it. You're moving forward. Remember, we're talking about playing full out on God's playground. And these are ways and reasons why. And then the last one I want to share with you, action builds trust with yourself. Sometimes when you're starting something, I don't know about you, but I know about me, you're just not quite sure. You're not quite sure how it's going to turn out, or even if it's going to turn out, or even if you can do it. But as you start this action, you start like, okay, this is working for me. This is working. And you start believing in yourself and start trusting yourself. I'm a fashion designer. When I was in fashion design school, we had to take a class. It was called marking and grading. And the grading piece of the class, and what grading is, in case you want to know, is that you create a sample, you create a pattern in one size. You don't create a pattern in all the sizes that you see. So you create your sample size pattern. Let's say it's a women's size 8. And then you grade up, meaning you make the pattern larger. And then you grade down, you make the pattern smaller. Okay, so that's grading. So it's very mathematical, and I love math, actually. But in doing this, it was very difficult when I first started. And, you know, it was a struggle. I was just like, oh my God, this grading homework. But I kept telling myself, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. And I kept doing it. And sometimes it just took me what seemed like forever to do it. There was one day, and I'll never forget, I'm in my house doing my grading homework, and all of a sudden, it's like someone clicked the switch on. All of a sudden, I got it. It became so easy. And it became a joy to do. I was having fun. I was actually having fun. And it was to the point when we had our grading final, because that particular quarter, we had 2 finals because she broke it up into 2 parts. So we had a final on the grading and final on the marking piece. And so, you know, I'm doing my test and I'm having a good time. I don't know how many of you have had a good time when you're doing a test. It doesn't happen that often for me, but this particular time, I'm having fun. Because I'm just doing it, and it's fun. And when she called us out of the room to talk to each of us about our grading final, she said to me, and you have to know this woman, she was not the warm, fuzzy woman. She was one of those women that if you messed up, she was going to let you know you messed up. But she also let you know when you did a good job. And so she said to me, she said, Stephanie, you are a beautiful grader. And it was like, and I knew, I knew it. I mean, she was speaking truth. Because that was how I felt. And how I felt went into my work. And then it created those results that was phenomenal. So, we've talked about, and we're talking about taking action. We're talking about playing full out on God's playground. And so you might be wondering, well, how do I do it? Well, if we go back to those 10 ways to know if you're playing full out on God's playground, those are the instructions there. And I'm going to read them quickly again, just in case you're like, yeah, I'm going to do something. Number 1, I know what I want, and I'm committed to getting it. And if I don't know, I devote time and energy to figuring it out. Number 2, I'm so focused on my vision that I don't get distracted or scattered by irrelevant, draining, or conflicting tasks. Number 3, I'm willing to experience whatever it takes, defeat, embarrassment, even humiliation, to achieve what I want. Number 4, I am constantly doing things I've never done before and or don't want to do. Number 5, I make at least one unreasonable, i.e. scary request a week. Number 6, I don't say yes when I really want to say no, even if it means rocking the boat or upsetting another. Number 7, I regularly seek out support and refuse to spend time with or discuss my dreams with naysayers, even if they're related. Number 8, every time I'm afraid to do something, I force myself to do it anyway. And I catch myself when I try to justify not doing it. Number 9, I'm rigorous about the thoughts that I think and the words that I use, making sure they're positive, supportive, and appreciative of myself and others. And number 10, I take time to relax and pamper myself so I don't burn out. So now we're at the time of the program where I give you your life work. So I'd like you to take one thing, it only has to be one, that you've either started and not finished for whatever reason, or that thing or idea that has come to you to do and for you to actually do it. And I want you to start today. It's not about starting tomorrow, because we're not procrastinating anymore, right? We are moving through and doing what is for us to do. Whatever that idea, we're moving on it. And if you become so adventurous, you can go through these 10 and start ticking them off and doing each one of them. Okay? And I'd like to leave you with 2 quotes. The first is from Napoleon Hill. It says, don't wait, or he says, don't wait. The time will never be just right. So you're never going to have that perfect time. The perfect time actually is right now. And the next quote is by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, I think. I might be wrong. But it goes like this. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. And I'll say that again in case you want to write it down. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. And so it is. And so I'd like to just anchor us with a prayer this morning to anchor this idea of playing full out. So let's take a deep breath and let it go. And standing in this place, standing in this God place, standing in this place where we know that God is present and that we are one with God, we are one with Spirit. We stand in this knowingness that all that God is, we are. And it's from this place that we move forward and we take action. We look at life as being this joyful, wonderful playground that God has presented just for us to play full out on. And that is exactly what it is we're doing. We are playing full out on God's playground, and we are having the times of our lives. We are no longer allowing ourselves to sit on the sidelines and just to be the observers of other people living their dreams. We are now in the game, playing full out, and being all that God has placed us here to be. Life is good, life is wonderful, and we are good and we are wonderful. And so we stand in this knowingness, knowing that we are great, that we go beyond the greatness that we have limited ourselves to be, and we are the greatness that God places here to be. And so it's in this joy, it's in this celebration of our greatness, it's in this celebration of us playing full out, it's in this celebration of us taking action that I give thanks. Thank you, Father, Mother God. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for the ideas, for the inspiration, for the revelation, for the willingness, for the action, for the movement, for the doing, for the being. I give thanks for this and for so much more. As I release this idea, I release this prayer, I release the word to the perfect action, the law. I simply let it go and I let it be, and I seal this by saying, Ashe.
Ashe.
Amen.
Amen.
And so it is.
So it is.
Thank you. Oops. There's something about that I just love. I think it wants to go home with me.
And so it is. Thank you. Reverend Stephanie and Jonathan's here. Please go to the floor. For preaching, telling us, action is the key to life itself. You can sit and do nothing and hope somebody brings you a sandwich while you're sitting on the couch, and you can starve to death because you didn't get up to do anything about it. And so I like the joy and exhilaration. Joy is a big thing that I don't know if I have enough of, but I have to allow myself to have that joy and that too. So thank you for the life work. There's a lot of steps here. I try to take it all in notes in here. I'll have to go over the talk because I missed some. So it will be posted, Stephanie's talk, if you want to hear it again and need to get some extra steps in. It'll be on YouTube later today. And so I just want to thank everyone for being here, for joining us, for you, the people that have joined us for the first time, thank you. And I hope you come back. And for those of you that are recurring guests, I am grateful that you're here in supporting us in creating a space, whether it's a physical space, a space within the internet, or just a space within the ethers, to develop and create a safe space for all of us to be. That's one thing that's extremely important to me, is that each individual have a space, safe space, to be themselves, to be who they are, and to be able to express that without criticism, without judgment, without shame, without any violence, but a safe place to be. And so I give thanks for each of you, knowing that each of you are that divine expression of the one expressing in, around, and through, and as each of us, this day and every day. And so I invite you back next week, and if you care to contribute, you can always go to our website, which is northernlightsspiritualcenter.com, and there's a donate button you can always donate to. And we are extremely grateful for anything you give, whether it's finances, whether it's your loving support, whether it's just your presence. And so I let it go, and so it is.
So it is.